Good morning, everyone. It's Phoenix here. I'm going to do something a little different today. Usually, I post short stories that I've written myself, but today I'm going to do something a little different. I have this book, Collected Lyrics, Edna St. Vincent Millay, and for some reason, the one of her poems called "The Ballad of the Harp Weaver" has been sitting in my mind for a while. But this book is pretty special to me. I've had it probably since I was a teenager, so a very, very, very long time ago. And it's gotten me through a lot of, the angst of the teenage years and all of that nonsense that everybody goes through. Um, so I thought what I would do today is just read a couple of poems of hers that I thought you might enjoy. So, here goes. This one I'm probably not pronouncing correctly. It's called Cap Dentibes. I'm probably pronouncing that completely wrong, and I have no idea what it means. But here we go. The storm is over, and the land has forgotten the storm. The trees are still. Under this sun, the rain dries quickly. Cones from the sea pines cover the ground again, where yesterday for my fire I gathered all in sight. But the leaves are meek. The smell of the small alyssum that grows wild here is in the air. It is a childish morning. More sea than land am I. My sulky mind, whipped high by tempest in the night, is not so soon appeased. Into my occupations with dull roar, it washes, it recedes. Even as at my side in the calm day, the disturbed Mediterranean lurches with heavy swell against the bird-twittering shore. Isn't that gorgeous? My gosh. Ah. Okay, the next one's called From a Train Window. Love the train. Precious in the light of the early sun, the Housatonic between its not unscalable mountain flows. Precious in the January morning, the shabby fur of the cattails by the stream. The farmer, driving his horse to the feed store for a sack of cracked corn, is not in haste. There is no whip in the socket. Pleasant enough, gay even, by no means sad, is the rickety graveyard on the hill. Those are not cypress trees, perpendicular among the lurching slabs, but cedars from the neighborhood, native to this rocky land, self-sown, precious in the early light. Reassuring is the grave-scarred hillside, as if, after all, the earth might know what it is about. And because this has been sitting on my mind forever. Let me see if I can find it. Come on, give me the thing here. Oh, golly whiz. Oh, here we go. There we go, page 128. Gosh, this poor book is just about to fall apart. I've had it for so many years. But here we go. This is called The Ballad of the Harp Weaver. Son, said my mother when I was knee-high, you've need of clothes to cover you, and not a rag have I. There's nothing in the house to make a boy breeches, nor shears to cut a cloth with, nor thread to take stitches. There's nothing in the house but a loaf end of rye, and a harp with the woman's head nobody will buy. And she began to cry. That was in the early fall. When came the late fall, son, she said, the sight of you makes your mother's blood crawl. Little skinny shoulder blades sticking through your clothes, and where you'll get a jacket from, God above knows. It's lucky for me, lad, your daddy's in the ground and can't see the way I let his son go around. And she made a queer sound. That was in the late fall. When the winter came, I'd not a pair of breeches nor a shirt to my name. I couldn't go to school or out of doors to play, and all the other little boys passed our way. Son, said my mother, come, climb into my lap, and I'll chafe your little bones while you take a nap. And oh, but we were silly for half an hour or more, me with my long legs dragging on the floor. A rocking to a Mother Goose rhyme. Oh, but we were happy for a half an hour's time. But there was I, a great boy, and what would folks say to hear my mother singing me to sleep all day in such a daft way? Men say the winter was bad that year. Fuel was scarce, and food was dear. A wind with the wolf's head howled about our door, and we burned up the chairs and sat upon the floor. All that was left us was a chair we couldn't break, and the harp with the woman's head nobody would take, for song or pity's sake. The night before Christmas I cried with the cold. I cried myself to sleep like a 2-year-old. And in the deep night I felt my mother rise and stare down upon me with love in her eyes. I saw my mother sitting on the one good chair, a light falling on her from I couldn't tell where, looking 19 and not a day older, and the harp with the woman's head leaning against her shoulder. Her thin fingers moving in the thin, tall strings were weaving wonderful things. Many bright threads from where I couldn't see were running through the harp strings rapidly, and gold threads whistling through my mother's hand. I saw the web grow and the pattern expand. She wove a child's jacket, and when it was done, she laid it on the floor and wove another one. She wove a red cloak so regal to see. She's made it for a king's son, I said, and not for me, but I knew it was for me. She wove a pair of breeches quicker than that. She wove a pair of boots and a little cocked hat. She wove a pair of mittens, she wove a little blouse. She wove all night in the still cold house. She sang as she worked, and the harp strings spoke. Her voice never faltered, and the thread never broke. And when I awoke, there sat my mother, with the harp against her shoulder, looking 19 and not a day older. A smile about her lips and a light about her head, and her hands in the harp strings, frozen dead. And piled up beside her and toppling to the skies were the clothes of a king's son, just my size. Never fails to get me. Oh, wow. Anyway, there we are. Took up 8-9 minutes of your precious day. But there's something about books. I mean, I've had this one since I was probably for, 60, 70, 80, 90, 50 years. 50 years this book has been with me. And it never fails that every time I pick it up, as many times as I've read it, I see something new from old words. Doesn't get too much better than that. Anyway, thank you all, everybody. Don't know if anybody will see this or even if you care, but I just decided that I wanted to do that today. So God love you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.